Hello, my name is Jaakko Väkevä. I'm a doctoral researcher at Aalto University, and on behalf of myself and my co-authors, Elisa Mekler and Janne Lindqvist, I'm here to present our paper titled From Disorientation to Harmony, Autoethnographic Insights into Transformative Videogame Experiences. Playing video games can change us as people. They may transform how we view ourselves, others, or life more generally. Such experiences have sometimes been called transformative experiences, which are characterized as resulting in a reconstruction of one's worldview, producing a change in perspective or identity. In the context of video games, discussion on transformation has typically been limited to games that aim to evoke predefined and measurable transformative outcomes in players, for example, in the context of education or healthcare. But what about the kinds of transformative experiences that are more profound and individualistic and more difficult to put into words or define or measure explicitly? Such more feelingful facets of player transformation have often been overlooked, but a nascent body of games research within SIGCHI implies that entertainment video games possess significant potential for evoking such transformation. Our study provides intimate insights into video game experiences that are profound, personally meaningful, and transformative. As such, it helps unpack the broad concept of eudaimonic gameplay. In addition, our findings help characterize a form of engagement where the player is aware of themselves as a player of a game, which could facilitate transformative reflection. Also, based on our findings, we draw design implications, discussing ways in which the transformative potential of interactive technologies could further be fostered. The field of empirical aesthetics, a research area at the intersection of psychology and neuroscience, has posited transformative aesthetic experiences as being among the most powerful responses we can have to art. Such experiences are understood to be triggered by a discrepancy between the viewer's perception of an artwork and their expectations and sense of self. The viewer is expected to confront this self-threatening discrepancy and to resolve it by adjusting their perspective and self-image. Such transformative aesthetic experiences are associated with powerful and profound emotional responses. Before undergoing the change in the self, people are expected to report feelings such as confusion, anxiety, and a desire to disengage. After the change, one can be expected to report feelings such as catharsis, insight, personal wholeness, and connectedness. However, these empirical aesthetics theories have been concerned with non-interactive art, such as painting, film, or music. And it remains unclear how they might relate to art or aesthetic media with interactive components, such as the medium of video games. We conducted an autoethnographic study to explore the capacity of entertainment video games to evoke aesthetic experiences that are profound, reflective, meaningful, and personally transformative. For this, the first author, which is myself, played through 5 narratively rich single-player video games while collecting self-observational and self-reflective data of the experience throughout and beyond gameplay. With our longitudinal first-person approach, we sought out to characterize the emotional and perceptual qualities of such player experiences and to track how these qualities may evolve over time. A better understanding of these questions could, 1. Allow us to better recognize and study certain elusive facets of transformative and eudaimonic human technology interactions. 2. Inform the design of more enjoyable and effective interactive technologies for various different recreational or pro-social applications. And 3. Help video games mature as an aesthetic medium capable of affording a diverse spectrum of enriching, transformative experiences. We adopted autoethnography as a method since it allows access to intimate characterizations of lived experience. In addition to recording data that is more rooted in the gameplay experience in its present, the method lends itself well for recording retrospective reflections and how experience evolves over time. Also, autoethnography allows accommodating the player's cultural background and subjective perspective as inseparable aspects that shape their video game experience. The 5 games played for the study were selected based on several criteria, including that they place an emphasis on narrative, and they are critically acclaimed and have been recognized for evoking powerful and reflective emotional experiences in some players. Written autoethnographic data was collected in 3 forms. 1. Field notes, which were collected throughout the gameplay, and which aimed to record self-observational data to capture emotional responses and cognitive processes and other elusive personal experiences. 2. Reflective journals, which were collected outside the gameplay. Here, the purpose was to record self-reflective data resulting from introspection, self-analysis, and self-evaluation to track how impressions changed over time. And 3. Memos, which were more spontaneous and free-form documents recording thoughts on salient patterns and emerging themes throughout the research process. During formative analysis, the field notes and reflective journals were coded using an open coding approach where the data was organized under broad initial thematic domains. Data collection and formative analysis were conducted as a cyclical process which spanned 11 weeks. After this period, a summative analysis was conducted, where an overarching process of categorization and comparison was undertaken. Here, you can see an illustration of the categories and subcategories, along with some individual codes associated with them. The purpose of this categorization was not to form some comprehensive picture of all aspects of the data, but rather to stimulate further analysis in which overarching patterns are identified and developed into meaningful themes. Another step to stimulate further analysis was self-reflective autoethnographic writing, where the autoethnographer produced a written narrative that aimed to portray a descriptive, evocative, and self-reflexive account of his experiences with each game title. Two of the games, The Beginner's Guide and Doki Doki Literature Club, resulted in experiences that were emotionally powerful, personally meaningful, and intensely reflective, and which were subsequently characterized as transformative. Next, I'll describe these games briefly. The Beginner's Guide is a first-person story-based game created by Davey Wreden under the studio name Everything Unlimited Ltd. In the game, a voice-over narrator who introduces himself as Davey Wreden guides the player through a set of unfinished experimental games created by his friend Coda. Throughout the game, the narrator discusses topics such as game development, interactive storytelling, and creativity. Doki Doki Literature Club, developed by Team Salvado, is a visual novel that is initially posed as a light-hearted anime-style dating simulator, which, behind the surface, is a psychological horror game that extensively breaks the fourth wall through metafictional elements. The game is viewed from the first-person perspective of a male high school student who is invited by his childhood friend Sayori to join their school's literature club. The player is then given the choice to romantically pursue female characters of the club by composing poems to them and selecting specific dialogue options. The seemingly light-hearted dating simulator takes a darker turn with its depiction of depression in one of its characters, and through disorienting, immersion-breaking elements such as seemingly malfunctioning dialogue boxes and distorted music. For detailed and evocative descriptions of the autoethnographer's experiences with these two game titles, we encourage you to read the findings section of the paper. However, to summarize, both games were ultimately seen as having expanded the player's capacity for self-understanding and widening his perspectives on important topics such as mental illness and creativity, contributing to a heightened capacity of empathy towards others. In addition, the player reported various intense emotional responses throughout his video game experiences, ranging from confusion and anxiety to feelings such as catharsis, awe, insight, profound beauty, and meaningfulness. These reports seem to align closely with the expected progression of transformative aesthetic experiences as modeled in empirical aesthetics. Thus, we deemed the autoethnographer's game experiences with these two titles as having been transformative in this aesthetic sense. As a result of formative and summative analysis, reflective writing, and continuous rereading of the data, four overarching themes were developed that served to differentiate these two profound and transformative video game experiences from the more mundane and emotionally indifferent experiences. Next, I'll provide an overview of what these four themes were and how they should be understood. First, the theme of investment relates to the feeling of heightened emotional and cognitive involvement during gameplay. Here, the game was felt as somehow drawing in the player towards its narrative and outcomes. Investment was associated with pronounced emotional responses, such as feelings of beauty and being moved, as well as epistemic emotions like interest, curiosity, and confusion. Second, the theme of personal relevance refers to a feeling of identification with the game and its contents. The player at times, for example, reported that he felt as if he were playing as himself. This occurred in cases where the distinction between the playable character and the player was vague or ambiguous, which was associated with a tendency to relate personal experiences and beliefs into the game context. Third, the theme of self-reflexivity refers to cases where the games would highlight their own artificiality as video games, and consequently draw the player's attention to themselves as a player of a game. This occurred through metafictional techniques and the subversion of prior player expectations. Finally, the theme of re-engagement refers to instances where the game experience would continue even after the gameplay had concluded. In these cases, the game left a powerful and vivid imprint in the player's mind, and he would feel compelled to revisit the game experience, either mentally through memory and reflection, or, for example, by watching gameplay videos, reading online reviews, or by listening to the game's soundtrack. Our findings suggest that transformative video game experiences could be triggered by discrepant gameplay encounters. In both transformative cases of our study, feelings of uncertainty, confusion, and disorientation were prevalent during the actual gameplay. This was associated with challenges of understanding and the subversion of player expectations. When the gameplay had reached its conclusion, feelings such as meaningfulness, beauty, awe, and appreciation were on the surface, but a sense of confoundment or incomprehension still seemed to outline these experiences, as the player felt deeply touched by the games but could not articulate what exactly to make of his experience. In both games, after the gameplay had concluded, this confounding sense of resonance would linger for days, and the player would feel compelled to revisit his game experience. Our reflective journals revealed that it was only after an extensive period of post-play re-engagement that these resonating and lingering experiences seemed to be eventually replaced by more coherent and harmonious views. Whereas we investigated video games specifically, our study contributes to broader HCI discussions on eudaimonic, meaningful, and transformative human-technology interactions that cultivate our well-being. Our findings suggest that interactive technologies could be a particularly effective medium for evoking transformative aesthetic experiences. Through the 4 themes, we draw design implications for interactive technologies that aim to foster individualistic and deeply meaningful experiences of transformation in users. For example, we propose that some of the transformative potential of interactive technologies may lie in their capacity for fostering perceptions of self-relevance and intimate investment in the user. In HCI, ambiguity has been considered a useful design resource, and we suggest that it could provide means for inviting perceptions of personal relevance and investment in the user experience, allowing possibilities for emotional resonance. Further, we suggest that rather than prioritizing comfort, familiarity, and immersion, designers of certain individualistic, profound, and transformative experiences should not refrain from embracing discrepancy, emotional challenge, and critical self-awareness as possible triggers for transformation. Finally, we propose the idea of re-engagement as an integral meaning-making period during which novel perspectives are accommodated. In the context of interactive technologies, the idea of re-engagements could have particularly powerful implications. We propose that one way to support the accommodation of perspective transformation could be to design for re-engagement within the immediate user experience. This could mean confronting the user with their discrepant experiences and providing affordances for thoughtful reassessment and adoption of new, more harmonious perspectives. For more details, we encourage you to read the full paper. Thank you for your attention. The game is viewed from the first-person perspective of a male high school student who is invited by his childhood friend Sayori to join their school's literature club.